Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Hey, Shalom. This lesson will be entitled Mark, 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 and Mark. This is based off of, or inspired by a lesson that the elder Karatazaba did from GMS Vegas. And, going into the word Mark, based off of what IUIC is teaching, they're not going into the Hebrew or the etymology, and they're just reading the word at face value. But being English, the bastard tongue that it is hey, there mark can mean a whole plethora of different things, many different things. Can mean mark. But I'm going to start here. This is Sirach. The prologue to Sirach, and I'm going to start from the top and then jump down after a bit. So the prologue of the wisdom of Yahushai, the son of Sirach. Whereas many and great things have been delivered unto us by the law and the prophets and by others that have followed in their steps, for the which things Israel ought to be commended for learning and wisdom. And this is something that this is showing you that the wisdom of the prophets, the wisdom in the law, the wisdom of the men that followed after them. Hey, this is all comes from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, but hey, this is something to attain to, because these were wise men. And this is Deuteronomy 4, and I'll start at verse 6. Now, you know what? I'll start at verse 5. It says, Deuteronomy 4 and verse 5, Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. So the other nations, they're supposed to see our wisdom through our keeping of the laws, statutes, and commandments. Yeah, but also through our diligence, through our work ethic, through how we are how we should be as a people. And these scriptures, which are written for our learning, Romans 15 and I believe verse 4, we have examples to strive towards. And the diligence of our forefathers is something to try to attain. Knowing words, being able to go into words, being knowledgeable. So surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great who have the Most High so nigh unto them, as Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, our power is in all things that we call upon him for. So again, just showing that we're supposed to be a wise and understanding people. But part of wisdom, it comes into going into words and being knowledgeable. And that's the point, really. But it says for the thing, back to here, Sirach, the prologue to Sirach, for which things Israel ought to be commended for learning and wisdom. And now today, what is Israel known for? Hey, we're not known for anything. Hey, we're not even known as Israel this day. Hey, we're people don't even believe that we're the real Israelites. So showing you how far that we've fallen, that they believe that these small hats, these goofy people, are the actual people, which there's Israel scattered among them. Yeah, but back to the prologue to Sirach, says, for which things Israel ought to be commended for learning and wisdom, whereof not only the readers must needs become skillful themselves. So not only not only the people that wrote this were skillful, but the reader needs to become skilled. The reader needs to pick up, you know. You can't just read this for face value. You know, you have to grow. You have to start looking up words, and it's very it can be time consuming. It can be tiring because what in this generation, all we use our brain for is looking at TV, looking at screens all day. You know what they call brain rot. You know, everything here in this society rots your brain. But these scriptures, these make it grow. This brings you to life. So, and whereof not only the readers must needs become skillful themselves, but also they that desire to learn be able to profit them which are without, both by speaking and writing. My grandfather Yahushai, when he had much given himself to the reading of the law and the prophets and the other books of our fathers, and had gotten therein good judgment. But that's the point for that, because you need to become a skillful in reading and writing, and whether it be in Hebrew, which is the most important, the Lashawan Kodash, the actual Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew, learning the names of the Heavenly Father and His Son, first and foremost, if you want to learn anything. But I'm going to jump down. So let me jump down here. It says, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words which ye have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself. But the point being is, these things translated or that were spoken in Hebrew and translated into another tongue, they don't have the same force in them. So it's lost its meaning. It's lost its potential. And that's why I'm focusing on the word mark, because here in the etymology, which, let me go here for, this is Wiktionary.org for mark. And I'm just going to skim through this real quick to show, look at this, mark, and this is etymology 1. It says a mark, sign, line of division, standard, boundary, limit, border, defining area. And this is just etymology 1. So this is this is going into the landmarkers. This is number 2 for this. It says a characteristic, a sign, a visual impression, an omen, a characteristic feature, a visible impression or sign, a blemish, a scratch, a sign or brand on a person, a written character. Now you see, just off of this, like I can just keep scrolling and not even reading it. Number 3, a target at shooting. The model number, basically Mark 1, Mark 2. You have all these different things. This goes on and on for how many different words or how many different meanings the word mark has. So it's important to go into the original language to see which definition, which etymology this matches up with, to make it more clear. Because a mark, you just say mark, hey, that can mean anything. That could be a name, the name of a person, a scribble, you scribbling on a piece of paper. But I'm gonna come back to this because I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use this going back and forth. So from here, I went to the blueletterbible.org and I typed in mark. And so, matter of fact, let me do that again. So I typed in mark. You type in mark at the first, it's going to take you to the bookmark, right? But here at the top, it's going to ask you, did you mean to perform a word search for mark? And you click on the word. It's going to take you to the to every scripture here, right here, that says mark, right? But that's not what we want. We're going to go over here to LEX, where it says 16 over it. And here you see the Old Testament Hebrew for mark, and this is every word that has that has that meaning for mark. You know, so here it has a name. You have scopeo, scopo, stigma, charagma, which I'm going to go into a few of these words. But here, I'm going to start here. I'm only going to go to two here in the Hebrew. So I'm only going to go to shamar, which is H Salakia H8104 shamar, and I'm also going to go to thawa. So from here, since I already have it open, I'm just going to go over to the tab for shamar, and this is Strong's H8104 shamar, and this word means to keep guard, to guard, to observe, to give heed, to have charge over, to watch over, to observe. You know, and that lines up, you know, what I'm going to get later for scopeo. But here, let's see here. I'm going to jump down because the video I watched was you know, the elder Karataza was highlighting a part where in IUIC they were going over Job 10 and 12, and this, I'm going to read it right here. This is Job chapter 10 and verse 12. It says, "Thou hast granted me life and favor, and I visit." No, wait. But here, okay. So I'll read that one anyway. I meant to get 14, but it says, "Thou hast granted me life and favor, and thy visitation has preserved me, has preserved my spirit." Salakia. So let me read that one more time. Job chapter 10 and verse 12. "Thou hast granted me life and favor, and thy visitation hath preserved me." Oh my gosh. One more time. "Thou hast granted me life and favor, and thy visitation hath preserved my spirit." So again, this is it's going into, you know, to keep, you know, shamar, which is also, I'm gonna get that next. Numbers 6 and 24. This is Job chapter 10 and verse 14. "If I sin, then thou markest me, and thou wilt not acquit me from my iniquity." So again, the mark, to watch, to observe. So when you're going off, hey, the Lord is watching you. The Lord is watching everything. The Lord is watching all his creation. But that doesn't mean, you know, that you have the charagma, or the mark of the beast. So it just means that to keep, or to watch, to observe. So this is Numbers chapter 6, and I'm going to read 24, and it says, "The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai bless thee and keep thee." And this is the anointing prayer. So the Lord bless thee and keep thee, and that word for keep is shamar. So it means to guard thee, you know, to keep you away from evil. So if the mark is supposed to be evil, you know, it's supposed to be sin and all this, but this is the same word for it, which it's not. This is the keep watch over you, to guard you, to keep an eye on you. Because the Lord has all your steps already, you know, planned out. Everything is already marked for you. You know what you're gonna do in this life, everything. But you know, keeping with that word shamar. You know, it doesn't mean the same thing as Revelation 13:16. So let me go here to Mark to get this. This is mark here in the etymology. Let's see here. Let me go to the verb. So this is number 15, and this is what the definition that matches up with shamar. It says to focus one's attention on something or something, to pay attention to take note of. Synonyms: to take heed, to listen to look at, to observe, to watch. So this lines up. This definition lines up. It doesn't line up with the same mark in which I'm gonna get later for Revelation 13 and 16. Now the next here I'm gonna get Dawa. This is the H8420 Dawa, and this is it says a mark, by implication a signature, a desire, a mark. It says a mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. So this mark here is an exemption from judgment, and I'm gonna read this in Ezekiel 9:4, and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So this is a kind of mark, which I'm gonna read the next verse too down here. Ezekiel 9:6, slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So this mark here is a mark of exemption. So go around and mark the men that are sighing and crying in Israel. Now when it comes to for you to slaughter, those men are going to be exempt. And it's not the same thing as the mark in Revelation 13 and 16. It's not the same mark as in Job 10. So here, this number 14, it says to distinguish. So hey, this would distinguish somebody from another. Meanwhile, you're looking at them, but this is different. The men that are sighing and crying for everything that are all the evils that be done in Israel, or everything that's going on. Those men that have a different mind. Those men are distinguished from the rest of the men, women, and children that are going to be slaughtered. They have different characteristics. Oops. Drop my notes. And here, let me get this. Here, I should have put the number down. And bear with me. And here, a little higher up, it says a badge or a sign of honor, rank, or official station. But this dawa here, this is going to be a badge of honor. because you're going to be exempt. You being exempt from this judgment taking place. This mark that you're going to receive, the tawa, if you're of the elect, this is going to be a badge of honor for you to show that you're of the elect, because you're going to be exempt from judgment. And you being exempt of judgment is going to be a badge of honor. Being that the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai had mercy on you. And this is different. This here is a spiritual thing, because it's not a physical mark they're putting on your head. This is a spiritual thing that's in you. It's not physical. And here, I'm going to get this real quick. It says, this is Wisdom Solomon chapter 4 and verse 15. This the people saw and understood it not. And you know what? This is speaking of Enoch. But this the people saw and understood it not. Neither laid they up this in their minds, that his grace and mercy is with his saints, and that he hath respect unto his chosen. So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, his grace and mercy, all that, this is extended to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's saints, which the saints are Israelites. And he hath respect unto his chosen, and the Lord's chosen is the elect. When you go into the Greek word, I believe is electos. It's basically the elect, the chosen. Who he's reserved. That those people, those men in Revelation, or not Revelation, it's like Ezekiel 9 that received that tawa, that mark of exemption. This is Scopeo. This is G4648 Scopeo. And this means to look at, to observe, to contemplate, to mark, to fix one's eyes upon, direct one's attention to look to, take heed of thyself. So this is similar to shamar, to look at, to fix your eyes upon. Because back to the Wiktionary, it's let's see here. Here, a target for shooting at it with a projectile, which you hear it in the etymology, scopeo, the scope. You have a target. We have a target or a goal to hit. And that goal is the kingdom of heaven. That's a mark we're trying to hit. To let me see, indication for measurement. And I already read to take heed to, to take care, like to look at, to observe. Let me see here. Indication. An indication or sign used for reference or measurement. And here you have many scriptures, to read about, where you can read about the elect. You can read about men, women, and children that were delivered by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and you can read about other men, women, and children that were set to be destroyed. And the scriptures were written for our learning. So from here, you have a measurement in the scriptures, and you can measure this up to yourself. Where am I on the scale? So this is Luke 11:35. Take heed, therefore, that the light which is in thee be not darkness. So mark yourself. Look at yourself. which while it doesn't say mark per se, but it's still meaning the same thing. Take heed to yourself. Look at what you're doing. Look at how you're carrying yourself. Romans 16 and verse 17. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. So here, look at them, observe them. Because mark has so many different meanings. So what do you do here? Here you're marking them, scopeo. Put them under the scope. Look at what they're doing. Are they selling everything? They're making the Lord's house a house of merchandise. Are they saying they don't know the names of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, even though at one point they were teaching it? Are they changing the doctrine? Are they now saying that Yahweh, while Yahushai are the same being, even though it's been taught by the One West schools that there were different beings altogether? That you had the Father and the Son, and they're not the same being? Are they teaching about the MOTB? That it's a physical thing, not a spiritual thing, not sin in all its forms. These are things that you have to look for, to look for them, to mark them, because there's a lot of false prophets out. But Yahushai said, "My sheep will hear my voice." So, those that belong to Yahushai, they're going to be taken care of. They're going to find the right path to take. They're going to be led to who they need to listen to. They're going to be led correctly. And here, this is Philippians, which I had this on another tab, so let me get that real quick. Here, this is Philippians 3 and 14. I press toward the mark for the prize of the Most High calling of Yahweh in Mashiach Yahushai. So we press towards the mark, that the goal. This is Scopos, which here, this is G4649, Scopos. It says an observer, a watchman. That's not a distant mark looked at, the goal or the end one has in view. And at the end of all this, we're trying to make it to the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven. This is where we're trying to make it. This is another mark. Is this the same thing? Is this going to go in your hand? No, it's not. Again, back to Philippians. This is Philippians 3 and 17. Brethren, be followers together of me, and mark them which walk so as ye have us for an example. So those that walk the same path that Paul walks, because Paul is following after Yahushai, or was following after Yahushai, and he's back today, and he's still following after Yahushai. So again, you have many men as an example today, and in the scriptures from the past. Verse 18, for many walk, of whom I told you often, and now tell you even weeping, that they are enemies of the cross of Hamashiach. So there are many out there that are walking, that are out there deceiving many, and they're enemies of Yahushai. And what did he do? He scopeoed them. They're marked. So he marked those that are doing the work in truth and sincerity, and mark those that are not. Put them into two different categories. Verse 19, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame, who mind earthly things. Hey, the end of all these false prophets is destruction, the thermonuclear destruction by the ICBMs, and they're who they serve is their belly, their own wants and needs, their own carnal desires, looking good in front of other people, having fly gear, whatever, having lots of money, what have you. And that's it for that. You can continue reading. And the next word is stigma. This is G4742, stigma, and it's to stick, to prick, a mark incised or punched. See, biblical uses a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their masters or commander, branded or pricked, cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belonged to, and there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods. So here, this is Galatians chapter 6 and verse 17. This is Paul speaking. From henceforth let no man trouble me, for I bear in my body the marks of the Lord Yahushai. So he didn't actually have Yahushai's name branded on him, but because of what he went through, being beaten, being stoned, being thrown into prison, being shipwrecked, being bit by a viper, so many things happened to him in the ministry through him suffering for Yahushai. Hey, he might as well have but anyway, the point being that his sufferings is like a branding, is like a stigma, a stigmata. His sufferings are showing that he's branded for Yahushai. So here, let me get this again. This is Galatians chapter 6 and verse 17 in the Amplified Bible. It says, "From now on, let no one trouble me by making it necessary for me to justify my authority as an apostle and the absolute truth of the gospel. For I bear on my body the branding marks of Yahushai, the wounds, scars, and other outward evidence of persecutions. These testify to his ownership of me." So all these things happening to him through his sufferings for Yahushai, and it shows who he belongs to. Let's see. Let me get this here back in the dictionary, and let's see here. Go to find. Here it says in number 2, the characteristic, sign, or visible impression. And this is a characteristic. This is a characteristic of being a slave to Yahushai, suffering for him. A characteristic feature. This is, like I said, these are signs that you serve Yahushai. So from here, let me go back. And this is different. This is a different mark. These are signs that you serve Yahushai. This is a different mark than charagma. So here, let me go to 1 Peter chapter 4, and I'll start at verse 12. "Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you." So like in Zechariah chapter 13, I believe verse 8 and 9, two-thirds, two parts therein shall be cut off, but the third shall be brought through the fire and refined. And this is the one-third, the elect, those that receive the thawa, that mark of exemption from judgment, and they're going to be refined. They're going to go through sufferings. But the difference is they're not going to. Well, let me continue. 1 Peter chapter 4 and 13, but rejoice, inasmuch as ye are partakers of Hamashiach's sufferings, that, when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. So, that you're suffering, you're partaking in the same suffering that Yahushua took part in, that he suffered in. You're suffering that same suffering. You're partakers of him. You're sharing with him. So, you're sharing in his suffering. You're going to share in his glory. So when Yahushua appears, when Yahushua cracks the skies in his chariot, his glorious chariot, like it says in Revelation 1 and 7, in 2nd Ezra 13, you're going to be glad to see Yahushua. Because like in Revelation 1 and 7, the rest of these people, they're going to be mourning. They're not going to be glad to see Yahushua. But those that partook in the sufferings with Yahushua, they're going to be glad to see him. Verse 14, if ye be reproached for the name of Hamashiach, happy are ye, for the spirit of glory and of the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai resteth upon you. On their part he is evil spoken of, but on your part he is glorified. So the world hates Yahushua. They hate him so much they changed his image, they changed his name, they made him into a leprous Edomite. They changed him to they changed the Heavenly Father to an all-loving being. And when you tell them the truth, and they hate that. But verse 15, but let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. So hey, don't like your suffering is going to be different than the people of the world. Because you're not going to be suffering like a murderer. And if you are suffering like a murderer, then Yahushua isn't with you. Meaning that you're not partaking in these things. You're not a murderer. You're not a thief, an evildoer. No, you're suffering for righteousness' sake. And again, this here, this goes back with the Thawa. So here, sorry. Verse 16, yet if any man suffer as a Christian, or it should say, Mashiachim, meaning anointed, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify the Most High Yahweh, Ma'ashem Yahushai, on this behalf. So, be able to, don't be ashamed for suffering for Yahushai. Be glad in, be glad in that. Give glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai that he allowed you to suffer that. Because, which I'm going to get this, that's all in my mind. This is Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 5. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. So, if you're suffering, for Yahweh's sake, hey, that means that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai loves you because you're receiving these scourges. You know, you're receiving the marks that you serve Yahushai. You know, that's like a badge of honor. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If you endure chastening, the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? So, you mean to tell me that you serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, but you haven't been chastised? You haven't been suffering anything? But if you be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers. So here it is, everybody, even Yahushai, our Savior, our big brother, he suffered. He suffered the most. But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons. So if you're not suffering, you living good, you're feeding your belly, you got no worries, no cares in the world, which, I mean, hey, we're focusing on the kingdom, but we still have, we still got to get our daily bread. We got to get food. We got to survive in this society, but we're not invested in this. We're invested in the kingdom. But hey, I mean, if you're not suffering, you're living it up. You're living a lavish lifestyle. Nothing bad ever happens to you. Then are you a bastard? You're not suffering like Yahweh followers, especially in the coming times. Hey, but Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is going to take care of his elect. But that's the point. That's that going into the Tawa. Wait, let me go back. Go into that mark, the characteristics of those that serve Yahushai, the marks of them that serve Yahushai. First Peter chapter 4 and verse 17. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai? So, hey, like it says in Ezekiel 9, hey, start at, which, let me go back to that. Ezekiel, where do I have that? Right here, Tawa. Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 6. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So this is going to start with the leaders, those that knew they were Israelites, those that were supposed to be leading the house of Israel, but were feeding their own belly. Because the ancients, hey, they're supposed to be guiding everybody. So it's gonna start with them. But those that had the Torah, they're gonna be taken care of. They're gonna be good. They're gonna be exempt from the judgment. Again, 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 17. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And if it first begin at us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai? And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? So, hey, those ungodly, hey, they're gonna get judgment. They're gonna be marked for judgment. Whereas the rest that are gonna be saved, the righteous, they're gonna be marked with the Tawa, the mark of exemption. And this is Acts chapter 5 and verse 40. Actually, let me start up. I will start at verse um, 38. It says, Acts chapter 5 and verse 38. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men, and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, ye cannot overthrow it, lest haply ye be found even to fight against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So you can't overthrow this truth. You can't overthrow the truth. You can't overthrow Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Because if you're doing anything against the truth, you're fighting against Yahweh. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, he ain't going to lose. He's going to destroy everyone, all his enemies. Verse 40, and to him they agreed, and when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yahushai, and let them go. So again, they were one that put out the name of Yahushai. Don't teach in that name. The same thing that you see, different groups like IUIC doing now, saying they don't know the name. We don't know the names. It could be this name, that name, this other name, Yahushai. It could be any name. We don't know it. Even though you do know it. But you don't want anybody teaching in this name. So you don't teach your followers this. Which, you need to know Yahweh or Yahushai to be saved. You need to know those names. You need to be able to call on those names. Those are very important names. Verse 41, and they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. Whose name? Yahushai. So they were rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer for Yahushai. Because they were beaten. They were beaten. They told them not to teach in that name, which is showing you the marks, the which would go into the stigma, that branding for Yahushai. What comes along with that name? Because what's going to be, they're going to receive so much more. That the reward is far greater than getting beat, than losing your life. When you losing your life or getting beat, whatever, you're going to gain eternal life. And slack if I'm rambling. I'm about done. And this last one here, this is G5480 Charagma. And this is a scratch or etching, a stamp as a badge of servitude. Now this here is a physical thing. It says a stamp or imprinted mark. The mark branded upon horses, of the mark stamped on the forehead or right hand of the badge of the followers of the Antichrist, which it's not everybody it's Antichrist is not one person. It's many. It's all these people, all these anti-Mashiach, anti-Messiah. So from here, this is Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, this mark, we'll go to break it down a little bit. This is charax. This is a pale, a stake, or palisade. And I think I did a lesson last week going into this. Basically, it's a wooden stake for point. Going into a syringe. This is a G1125 grapho, and this is to write, going into information, because that chip, the C-hip, is going to have all your information on it, whether your banking information, your ID, your biometrics. It's going to have everything that you need to make it in the society to come, in the new world order. So back to this. This is Revelation 13 and verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you need this mark You need this mark to make it into society. So let's go back here to the dictionary and let's go get a few definitions. This here, a visible impression or sign, a blemish, a scratch, or stain, whether accidental or intentional. Now, this here is going to be the mark is going to cause boils in people. It's going to cause cancer in people's hands. They're going to have terrible sores in their hands, and I'll get that precept next. Now it's gonna be this is gonna be a physical sign on them that they have it because they're gonna how you say it. This is gonna be a physical sign on them. This is gonna be a physical mark that's left on them. But the mark is also says they're here to put a mark on something, to make something recognizable by a mark, to label or write on. So these are gonna have all your information in it. But here another one here it says a sign or brand on a person, and I'm going to click on this word for brand, and it's here for brand. Let me see here the mark. It says the symbolic identity represented by a name and or logo which indicates a certain product or service to the public, and basically you're going to be branded. This is like this is going with the all. Let's see here. Mark of infamy. Where is it? A mark or scar by burning with hot iron, especially to mark cattle. And these people, they call you goyim, they call you cattle, they call you sheep. This is a branding that's going to go in you. A specific product, service, or provider so distinguished. But this is going to go into your identification. Without this mark, without this branding, you're not going to be able to survive in this society. You're not going to be able to buy or sell without this badge. Which actually, let me see here. But that's it for that. So let me go back. Let me read this last part. This is Revelation chapter 16 and verse 2. And the first went out and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. So those men that had this mark, this isn't the same mark as Shamar, the first word I brought out. This isn't the same word as Stawa. This isn't the same word as Scopeo. This isn't the same word as stigma. This is charagma. This is a different mark. This is a badge of identification. Which actually, let me see here. Let me see if that's in here. No, that's not it. Ah, here we go. Of things, to identify someone as a particular type of person or having a particular role. Well, this is going to be used to identify you. Yeah. So this is gonna be used to identify you. So all those that have this mark in them, it's gonna have all their information, their ID, their biometrics, their banking information, whatever information on it. This is what's gonna be used. And this here, if you get this physical charagma, you're gonna get grievous sores. You're gonna get cancer. You're gonna be burned up in a thermonuclear destruction. But it's not the same thing as the other marks. This is a physical thing. And Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, and Shalom.